Ready?
Yes.
Let's do it. And we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited today. Rebekah is always amazing to have on this channel. She is an amazing resource for Outschool. So thanks for coming, Rebekah.
You're welcome. It's fun to be here.
Yeah, I'm so glad. We're going on a little bit early because I have a virtual baby shower to go to. Super excited for that. Never been to a virtual baby shower, but I'm glad I get to be there today. So we are on a little bit early, and thank you to whoever can join us. So we're just gonna chit chat, right, Rebekah?
Sounds good.
So certain things have been coming up in our Facebook Messenger group, like what we're gonna talk about, some ongoing classes. You said options for teacher. Oh, the refund and no refund. So that's kind of things we've been talking about in our group. Let's talk a little bit about the refunds and no refunds that you mentioned.
Sure. So I should look up the actual Outschool policy, but ongoing classes are subscription based. So every Sunday, the parent gets charged for that week's worth of classes. So it'd be one time a week, then you pay the whole thing. You may two times a week, you pay the whole thing, and for those 2 times. So you pay for the week. And so some people think of it as like a Netflix subscription. You pay for it. Whether you use it or not is really up to you, but you pay for it. So you're paying for your spot in that class. So if you're going to miss that class, that's where the gray area comes in. It's like, but you're paying for that spot. So as a parent, do I just take the hit and go, okay, I'm out those $10 this week or whatever it is, and say, well, but that was my spot, but I can't make it there. Because if you withdraw, like if you unsubscribe, that spot might fill up with somebody else, and then you're out. And the teacher may not open another spot. They might want to keep the class small, or you might have to find a new time to join in. So there are times with my daughter, I'm like, but I want to keep this time. It works really good, but today is just not. So I'll take the hit and I'll just pay for this week, and we can watch the recording.
Right. I know, it always makes me feel bad. Like if a parent reaches out and says, well, I can't make it, or we're just gonna skip it today. Like sometimes if it's a valid reason, or something happens, an emergency, you might, refund. I understand. But just because your kid didn't feel like going today, I'm like, well, that shouldn't hurt me. Like
right. And the teachers are not required to refund in that case.
Right.
They can if they want to, or if I have one teacher that we attend, and she said that, I will still be having class during Christmas break, but if you can't come, please let me know. I'll refund you. It's like a one-time offer. And if she's going to offer, sure, then we can decide, if we can come or not. Right. But most teachers are like, no, we're not going to, offer that. You can just watch the recording. And we've done that a couple times where it's like something comes up, or like we haven't seen my parents for about a month now, and they wanted to do like a play date with them. And so she's going to miss an ongoing class, which is kind of a fun class. But I'm like, okay, I'll just tell the teacher we're going to skip this week. We love this class. But grandparents, family kind of comes first.
But you didn't expect them to pay you back.
No. And I even said in my thing, like, we can't come this week. I do not need a refund. Don't worry about it. My personal policy is that if somebody reaches out with a valid reason for, like, somebody in the family got sick, or whatever it is, I may offer a transfer, or if they ask for a refund. But I've had parents who I say, hey, would you like a refund? They go, no, you keep the money. I'm like, right, great. Thanks. So I'm not going to push the refunds. I'm not going to push losing out on my money unless they ask for it and they give me a valid reason.
Right. So if you're here,
then I might say no.
If you're here as a parent, let us know your thoughts. If you're here as a teacher, we'd like to know your thoughts too. So what do you do if a parent needs to cancel, or, we're talking about an ongoing class now, not a one-time class, for ongoing. So awesome. I have my list of questions and things over here.
And one thing that I asked in one of my groups is, if you are a parent or teacher in an ongoing class, what do you prefer? Do you prefer a parent to tell you ahead of time in an email saying, hey, we can't come today because of XYZ, or do you want to not show up?
Right.
Like, what would you prefer? Because I've been fall for both. I've told teachers once, and then sometimes I'm like, well, oops, we missed the class.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. And, what works best. And overwhelmingly, and in this one group, like 100% of the people who voted said, I want to know. As a teacher, I want to know that your kid's not coming today.
Yeah.
And, I think it'd be nice because, but as a teacher, I've had both happen to me. I've had people reach out saying, hey, we can't come. I've also had classes where it's like, well, it says 6 people are here, but there's only 4 people here, but we're just going to go. And it happens whether they come late or not. We've waited 2 minutes or so. We got to get going.
Yeah. And I think as a teacher, if you know ahead of time, you can start instead of being like, oh, let's give, Susie another minute of wait time. You get started right away, which it's tricky. You shouldn't make the other kids, the other paying customers, right? Basically what they are, wait because of one student. But sometimes it's a little bit, we keep the chit chat going a little bit longer to help out the one that's late. And if you know ahead of time, then you don't need to do that. So, hey, James.
And I usually chit chat for about 2 minutes. One, it kind of loosens the environment, and 2, it's a mic check. Yeah. So I'm checking to make sure I can hear every student, because the first 2 minutes is usually when the parents are hovering. Yeah. And go, wait a minute, I can't hear you. It says you're not muted, but I can't hear you. Quick, tech control coming in there, and then they can leave. Nice. But if I don't do that, then later on I call on that child and I can't hear them. I'm like, oh no, now the parent's not around.
For me, I've been kind of fortunate. I only have one ongoing class with one student because I've been making it private. And so her and mom will be like, oh, I forgot about a dental appointment. And I'm like, how about Friday at the same time? We kind of have this little leeway thing, and it's been working out. And I told her, as long as she tells me in advance and I don't sit there like waiting since she's the only one, then for me, it's not a big deal. But that's one student, and, let's see. So James said hi. James, you rock. James, I've had some people popping up in the chat lately, so I don't know if he's noticed. James has messaged me before like, hey, just want to let you know somebody's got some weird comments. So he has a wrench. So if somebody's being naughty, James. Let's see. I should give Jerry one too. I know Jerry would do it too.
She'd be good at that.
What's that?
She'd be good at that. Yeah, she's a good friend.
So Jerry said, if they miss a class and don't say anything, I just let it go. Things come up. I once offered it because she reached out and had a death in the family. She didn't want it. Yeah, I agree. So James, you probably heard, and this is about Outschool, but what about your classes for Vietnam? We know the VIPKid policy, but do you give the money back? Or I don't even know if they have to pay him in advance. They might pay him after. How does it work for you, James? Jerry said, I do the mic check too. Sorry, cannot stay long, but hi. I'm glad you're here, Jerry. Hey, Stephanie. Thanks for joining us. So we are talking all things Outschool. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the chat. We'd love to know them. What do you do if a learner misses an ongoing class? We just talked about that. Oh, here is one that you were explaining in our group. What is the difference between listed, unlisted, archived classes?
Okay. So,
and why do we care?
Right. Back when I first started in like May or June, there were 2 categories. There's listed and there's archived. And when I first started, I didn't know what I wanted to teach. I was still trying to find my niche. So I would go to the Sunday parent request list and go, ooh, that looks good. Ooh, I could teach that. Ooh, I could teach that. And it says, click here. And so it makes a new class. And then I go later to make these classes. I've got like 5 classes started, and then I have my regular classes. And those classes started, I'm like, no, I don't want that anymore. There's no delete button. You can't delete a class once you start it. Or once you start brainstorming it, it's on there. So I'm like, this is cluttering up my list of classes. Yeah. So I went and I archived those. Now to archive, you have to unlist first. Well, these were just brainstorming, brain fart classes. So I just archived them and they got hidden away as archived. But if you want to bring those back out again, like my very first class that I did kind of flopped. And I'm like, I'm just not doing that anymore. Like it's gone. So I archived it. If I do want to revive it again, I have to unarchive, just hit the button. And then I have to re-enlist, which means I have to resubmit it to
Oh,
Outschool.
you do.
And then they can list it again, and it'll be on my listed classes. So you can just unlist if you just want to do in the unlist folder now, and then you can archive it, kind of like delete. That's the archive where nobody can do it. A lot of my unlisted classes now are my works in progress. Things that I started, like I'm working on a flex class, which might take me forever to do. But I'm working on it. So as I'm brainstorming, as I'm creating it, it's unlisted.
Yeah.
Then when I apply it to Outschool, they can list it.
Right.
And then if I don't want it, I archive it. But only the listed classes are the ones that parents can book.
Okay.
Whether they have times offered or not, they can request those to get booked. Unlisted, they can't see it. Archived, they can't see it.
Excellent. So Thrive with Mary. Hey, Mary. Mary said, what is the process for making a class active after being archived? So I think you just explained that.
Yeah.
You really just go in and change it, right?
Yes.
Are you looking?
I can show you. Yeah. I can show people if they want to see what.
We know each other now. I could see her eyes and what she was doing. I'm like, oh, she wants to be a co-host. She's going to share something. So while you're looking for that, let me just say, James said his clients, his students, they pay in advance. And if they give me at least a 2-hour notice, I add a day to the end. I offer 1, 5, and 10-day packages. Awesome. So you kind of freelance teach, right, James? Mary said, I hadn't taught for 6 months, so my classes were automatically archived.
I have read that. I thought it was a year, but maybe it's 6 months. But you just have to re-enlist it.
So
do you want to show you?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
So all of your classes get archived, or just the ones you haven't taught in a while?
Yeah, ask her. But I think I read somewhere that if you haven't taught a class in haven't scheduled a section in the class in the last certain amount of months, they just automatically archive it. So here are my classes, and these are all my classes. Up here, I have a drop-down list. I have listed, not listed, and archived. So my not listed classes, this is my work in progress.
Right.
And then my archived are the ones that I'm like, I'm not interested in doing this. Some of them I just barely started, and I'm like, and some of them, I have to fix. So like my show and tell colors, that was my first class I made, but everybody's doing show and tell colors. So I'm like, nah. So I clicked on it. I can go to unarchive, just click this button right here. And then I can finish the draft. So I can go into it and I can see, exactly how it was before. And then I can request the listing if I want to request it.
Okay, but it's all still there for you. That's nice.
Yes. Yep. It's all still there for me. Yep. Perfect. And so then I can decide. So now that I've unarchived it, now it's in my not listed folder.
Okay.
So now if I go back to classes and I go to the not listed, and I refresh, because you have to refresh a lot because it doesn't automatically refresh, then it'll be there as my not listed. So excellent. I think I'm going to re-archive it because I really don't want to teach it anymore. I taught it like 2 times and I'm like, nah, I have better classes. I only got 10 saves and I didn't taught it twice. So I'm going to archive it just so it's kind of out of my mind. Right. Really, there's no difference between unlisted and archived, but to my brain, unlisted means work in progress. Archived means I don't want to teach it anymore.
Right. Now, Rebekah, can you go and move your cursor over the give 20, get 20?
Yes.
In the description box below, I'm going to add Rebekah's give 20, get 20, because for me, you could use my link too, and you would still get $20 towards your first classes now, because it's not just one class, right? Rebekah, we can use it for multiple classes.
Right. It carries over.
Right. And I don't get 20 back because I don't have children that are teaching, or children that need classes on Outschool. My kids are too big. But if you use Rebekah's code, then you get $20 for classes, and her daughter will get $20 for classes. So let's make sure to add that.
Classes.
Yeah. Let's make sure to add that. Add your link to the description box. Right now, for some reason today, I only had your YouTube link. So I thought that was interesting.
I'll copy this and I'll throw it in.
Yeah, throw it in the chat box for now, but we'll make sure to put it in the description box too.
Fantastic. Yes.
We'll both add our links for teachers too. So if you're interested in teaching, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah. So this is kind of fun because then you can go to your transcripts. You can see how much money you have left in your bank. And I always have zero because nobody signs up under my link. And so we're just, we're paid out of our pocket. But if you sign up, you get $20 to play with, and I get $20 to play with. So it's like a win-win. So like, why not?
Right.
For first time Outschool parents only. So you have to click on my link first and then join Outschool. If you've already have an Outschool account, you can't do it.
Okay.
Unless you sign up with a new email. So if you say, okay, we're going to forget that one. We're going to sign up under Rebekah's with a new email, then you can get those $20.
Okay. Great.
So I'm going to stop the
Good.
share.
Yeah, I figure somebody else might as well get that, because there's no need for me to share the parent one for me when it's not helping my kids. Unless somebody wants to donate $20 to college fees or something.
Yeah.
Kidding. Totally kidding. Okay, let's see. Jerry said, so unlisted they can see, but archived they cannot. Right?
I don't think they can see the unlisted.
Well,
so unlisted means has not been approved by Outschool yet.
So which ones is it that I have just not opened sections for?
So you guys haven't opened sections for it. So there's the ones that you've opened sections for and they're ready to be scheduled. And then there's the by request only. So the parents can see those because you haven't listed, but you just haven't opened any spots yet. And so then they can ask you, hey, I'm available these times. Can you open a spot? Or in my case, they can select my availability and they can just schedule a section.
Right. Hey, Danny, thanks for coming. Danny's been doing a lot of Outschool. That's awesome.
Yes.
And yoga with me. Yoga on Fridays, everybody. Come watch me get my butt kicked. Oh, this Friday was awesome. Let's see. Mary said, yes, all my classes were archived because I hadn't taught anything. Interesting. Wow.
So Mary, all you have to do is go back through, check your description to make sure it's everything you want it to be, and then ask to be relisted. Okay. And then they can say, oh, fix this, fix that, or you're good to go. And then you can start scheduling.
Yeah, it seems pretty easy. Yeah. Danny said, I love the referral for classes, $20. It is a reason I have made one of my classes $20. Oh yeah, that's right.
But they got an email yesterday.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
You can carry the numbers over. So let's say you got your $20 to play with and you go to one of my classes, which are $10 classes. You spend $10 on me, you have $10 still left in your bank. You can take another class, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, but if there is like a $20 class that parent wants, that would be a great time.
Or a multi-day course that's like $35, knock off $20 of that and you just pay the left. So
Oh, Jerry, we do yoga with, have you heard of VIPKid teacher Heather Fritz? She does a lot of free VIPKid meetups, and we just pay, there's a $10 drop-in fee. You can go to any class. I take Tuesday morning, Thursday evening, and Friday mornings. So, but I pay like the monthly fee because then I can just put in as many yoga classes as I want. Green light yoga with Heather. Yeah. She's awesome. She's very chill, and she tells you like it is, and I love it. Let's see. Oh, good, they changed that. Yeah, Danny, they did. Oh, James, 37 days until moving day. Woohoo! That is awesome. Let's see. What other topics do we have? Do you have something to chat about in the chat box? Let's see. We had more in here. I'm trying to scroll through all of our messages. Guys, our chat box for collaboration is like filled with all kinds of things. I love it. What else, Rebekah? Let's think of one more thing that we haven't talked about. Let's see.
Well, I can tell you where I shop for classes. Is it echo? Where I shop for classes is the discounted pages.
Oh, that's right. Yes, please let them know.
Yes. So I have discovered a lot of different Facebook discounted pages or just class promotion pages. And so I often shop there first because my daughter's 4 and she can kind of take anything really. I mean, not anything because, she's only 4, but I can look and go, which one looks good? Okay, we'll try this one. And oftentimes, here's what I do with ongoing classes. And then you don't have to do this one. But what I do is when the teacher offers a discount for the first class, like a half price or a $1 class or whatever, I feel like, okay, if it's a good class, I will stick around and pay full price for the second class. And then I can make my decision. because they are giving up their time for the first class for a lower price. They want to kind of keep enrollments going. So
Right.
I'll try for a second one. And if we really like it and it works on our schedule, we will just stay. But if her schedule is getting too cluttered with classes, like she's got classes almost every day, and he's like, okay, it's too much, we will go ahead and drop, one subscription. And knowing that we can take that teacher later with a one-time class or, whatever. Like today, I talked to my daughter last night, and she goes, do I have any classes tomorrow? I'm like, sorry, look, no, you don't. I want a class. Okay, well, I'll look for one. So this morning in a VIPKid break, I went to the swap page that offers $1 classes.
Yeah.
Because we like to do those dollar days. And I found one on ABCs for today. That's not what I'm teaching. So it's like a win-win. So she'll learn her ABCs. I'll pay $1. And if I like it, I'm already going to be following this teacher.
Right.
Once I take a class, I become one of their followers. And then I can look to see in the future, what classes they have available.
That's awesome. Yeah, Danny said Kelly will share my last minute classes in the discount group for me sometimes. Yeah, I've seen yours on there. I've only done it once, and I had no idea how to refund. So of course Rebekah was my guinea pig again. So she took one of my classes, and I learned how to refund $2 of the class back. So it's all a little learning curve. But the great thing with Outschool, don't you think, Rebekah, is the community. So you can see people drop questions and they answer. It's not like, oh, we've already answered that 10 times or whatever. They're like, I don't know how to give a refund. How do I do this? Or how do I do that? And Rebekah's always answering questions, guys.
Well, I'm always learning new things. But one thing that strikes me is we signed up for this ongoing class from this brand new teacher. She's never taught anything before. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm fine with new teachers. I love seeing new teachers. I can be the 5 stars. Yes. She offered a refund, and then she goes, what's your email? I'll refund you. I'm like, you don't need my email. You can just go to the change enrollment on the student page and look down at the bottom, and you can see how much you want to refund, the whole amount, $2 off, and you refund that way. She goes, oh, thank you. Not a problem. Parent to parent, teacher to teacher, we're helping each other out,
Right? Yeah, the other day I messaged Rebekah. What was it? Oh, somebody wanted to transfer a class. So she was an 8-year-old and wanted to transfer into another class where Rebekah's daughter was because she didn't have any friends. And I know Rebekah's daughter likes friends in the class. It was an age gap. So, but anyway, I messaged Rebekah. I'm like, I don't understand how to do this. And Rebekah's like, oh, well, if it's going from an older class to a younger class. And she just messaged me a quick message. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And the parent wrote to me like, wait, can't you just do this? And I wrote exactly copy paste what Rebekah said. And the parent was like, oh.
So long story short, you can transfer a kid from class A to class B in the same class. Okay. Right. So in this case, it was the 4 to 6-year-olds class of teacher Kasey's. Now this student had taken class 2, the 7 and up year olds. Yeah. Okay. You cannot transfer this class to this class. They're 2 different classes. You can do between sections. So I told her that one person is going to have to withdraw and then repay, re-enroll for this class. Right. And then you can figure out the discount. But the parent's going to have to do some step work to get out and get back into this one. She goes, oh, okay. Yeah. So there's some things that only the teacher can do, transfer. And some things the parents can do, choose a new class.
Good to know. Man, Rebekah's always keeping me. Dixie is taking Kim's story and craft class today. Oh, love it. Danny said, isn't that funny, Rebekah? My kids take PE from other teachers. Oh, yeah, and you're a PE teacher. Yeah.
There's something about mom.
I agree.
No, I don't want to do it because mom's teaching it. Although yesterday I did teach a class and only one person was there, another 4-year-old. And I'm like, Esther, come here. You can sit next to me. We'll do this science experiment together. So that you can have a friend and I can have a set of hands.
Yeah. There you go.
And the person was fine with it because, it's a 4-year-old and I'm not paying for my daughter. And sometimes I can do her separate device, but this is a hands-on messy thing. You're sitting next to me.
You're so good about letting her be messy though.
That's true.
I've seen you she's got a pile of sugar or salt playing in it. I love it.
paint all over her hands. Yesterday we made oobleck. And so I'm like,
Oh,
let's
Dr.
I
Seuss,
know, but I only had one kid in the class. So
I
I'm like,
missed it.
okay, let's have another person because the age was just right. And so she was kind of off camera, but her hands were in there. And so it was kind of a chat class too. It kind of
Right.
helps it become more social.
I
So
should have gave
on
you my
occasion,
lesson plans for Dr. Seuss week. You could have been like, here's five
Right?
lessons, guys. Let's do it. Not that you can fit them all in. Let's
Ugh,
see.
I know timing. I'm pretty much booked with my 2 ongoing classes. I have like
That's
6
great.
sections of math and 6 sections of science that I
And
do
how many
every
days
week.
a week do you teach them?
A lot. So my science
Well,
classes,
I mean per student. How many do they take?
once a week.
Once a week. Okay.
Yep.
Let's see. Danny said, thank you guys for staying up on all the changes and sharing with us. Yeah, Rebekah is really good at that. I just like to learn and talk about it with her. Danny said, I love my smart friends. Am I pointing the right way? That way? There's one student, Dixie takes my class on the phone. Very helpful. Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
Anybody
we got
want a 23-year-old,
and
21-year-old?
Right. We got
do that.
tablets so she can take it too. And we take the classes outside and inside. It just depends on, what it's like.
That's awesome. I've already started my flex class. I just haven't sent it in yet. I'm like, so crazy. Let's see. I figured out to revoke her co-host abilities because once she accidentally took over host and I couldn't spotlight the kids. Oh no. That's funny. I actually gave up being a host once. I didn't even know you could do that on accident, and I couldn't get anything back.
I did that too. I'm like, what's going on? Why is it doing this in my class? And then I realized after the head of class that I'm like, I lost the host abilities. I gave it to a kid.
If you assign 2 co-hosts, you lose your host.
Oh, weird.
That's what happened to me on Zoom once, but luckily it was all of you adults, and I was like, hey, somebody give me some control back, please. Help me out over here.
Finally got it back, but I'm like, what did I do?
Right?
I gave it to a kid. Yikes. It's too easy to do because it's right underneath the spotlight button. And so it's between rename and spotlight, and then there's give host. I'm like, ah.
Right? James said we're starting starters, movers, and flyers classes soon. What is that about? Starters, movers, and flyers. Different, I'm thinking science. What, are you laughing at me? Should I know this?
No, I'm laughing at Danny.
Oh.
But I do want to hear James's things, yes.
Yeah, I want to know. Sorry about the timer, guys. I have to have a timer for everything, and then I still forget sometimes. Danny said, wow, I want to try flex. I got to try everything so I don't get bored.
Right, me too. That's the only one I haven't tried yet.
Flex PE. You could totally flex PE. I should flex Zumba. All my Zumba kids classes, but Zumba is so much fun.
Have student interaction.
That's what I was saying. It's so much fun to interact.
You have to have a way for them to interact on the classroom or something. Even if they don't, it's a requirement that the students have to interact with other students. Students have to interact with the teacher on these flex classes. So I'm working on there's on my to-do list, long to-do list of science experiments, a flex class. So they can do all the same science experiments I do in my live classes, but on flex with videos. But I have to find a way that they can do the interaction part. But then I'm afraid that if they take the flex class, they'll never see me in a live class. I might lose my students. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm torn.
Tricky. The adventure of online teaching. Never ending. Yeah. Walking in the jungle. Danny. She got that stuck in my head yesterday.
On the beach.
She got that stuck in my head yesterday. Her and Heather were singing it during yoga. So we were doing tiger pose and somebody started singing it. I think it was Danny. She started it.
That's a famous song. Esther took an Outschool class on phonics and they played that song in Outschool. I'm like, now it's getting stuck in my head all day.
James said Cambridge English levels for learning. Oh, gotcha. Very good. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining our chit chat, everyone. I think that's all we have for today. I don't know. It was just fun to hang out. Please don't forget to hit the like button. I always forget to say that. And we had 23 people stop by to check in. Love it. Thanks, everybody. Rebekah, thank you as always for coming by. I know I said it was going to be short and it's still like 30 minutes.
You're welcome.